Okay, so for my project, I chose to do the IWW, also known as Industrial Workers of the World. So, with the turn of the 20th century, the idea of an organization that would represent all laborers and end corporate corruption and the expulsion of labor sparked to life. The organization's leader and overall symbol's name was William Hayward, and he was a former hard rock miner. So Hayward delivered the opening speech in 1905 with a meeting with over 200 socialists and trade unionists. This speech launched what would soon be called the Industrial Workers of the World, also known as Wobblies. I'm not quite sure where that came from, but that was just what they were called. Representatives of the founding parties included Mother Jones, who was a legendary fighter for miners and children's rights, Daniel De Leon, who was the leader of Socialist Labor Party, and many more important figures in labor politics and activism. So, according to historian Joyce Cornbush, the IWW was a union based on the principles of Marxist conflict and indigenous American philosophy of industrial unionism. So, Marxist conflict is how society kind of divides people through economic class, so like the poor and the rich. And indigenous American philosophy of industrial unionism is the overall view that just supported white skilled workers that were specifically men. So the Wobblies didn't agree with this, so they decided to create one big union, is what they called it, where the workers would own the land, they would have all the labor they needed and the capital they needed to produce their products. So to fulfill this great dream, they employed from the most marginalized groups in America, so women, non-whites, immigrants, migrant workers, and they previously weren't allowed to join the Skilled Workers Union that was created by the AFL, the American Federation of Labor. And instead of organizing these workers by like special interests like the AFL did, the IWW organized them by industry. So if your industry had anything to do with mining, you would be together. It doesn't matter if you mine copper or coal, you would all be in the mining industry. So the IWW had two main campaigns, socialism and anarchism. So the socialists urged the IWW to join in politics and vote for what they thought was right, support people who were fighting their cause. And they knew it was going to take a long time, as politics does, but they still thought that would be one of the better ways to go along with that. But the anarchists wanted quick change. They didn't want to deal with it for like 5 years. They wanted it now. So they urged direct action like strikes and sabotage in the work business. These labor strikes were major for the Wobblies, and like it was great for them in their opinion, but other people didn't quite like it, obviously. Not only were they involved in the Goldfield, Nevada miners' strike of 1906 to 1907, which changed the labor laws where they said 8-hour days is what your day is going to be. It's not going to be like 10, 12. But also in the New Orleans and Arkansas lumber strike of 1912, and they were also in like so many other big labor strikes. The IWW even went so far as to publish a multi-language newspaper. Like they were like ads in different newspapers, I guess. They would advocate sabotage in the workplace, and they practically said if they're not going to pay you what you want and if they're not going to do what you want, then like just make their life total chaos. This became illegal just after a year of them starting to post these. And with all the strikes and sometimes even violence, the IWW was soon being like viewed as traitors and kind of terrorists. And they started to become hunted down by local vigilantes, the police, the National Guard. And this caused the membership to drop from 100,000 to 30,000 in like a year. So they're still active today, they're just not widely as known and not as violent as they were.